At the edge of the universe, 400 men and women are probing the immeasurable blackness of space. Their leaders are an Earthman with no fear and a stranger with no heart. Travel beyond our time and solar system, into new galaxies, into worlds beyond your dreams. Star Trek, every week, in color.
Yeah, no tunnel run, no extended hoo-ha. Just Dan, you want me to, you need something special? You want special effects? You need me to perform for you? Okay, I'll be your fucking, I'll do that thing. Man, can you tell I'm bitter? That's why I'm on vacation, trying to burn off this bitterness. I'm here to bring in some guys that are almost as bitter, but maybe can brighten me up a bit, talking about the thing that they love. And you know what? I love it too. Let's talk about Star Trek. Let's bring in who? Doctor Who? The Doctor, that's who. Hey, Dr. Johnny Price, PhD. Hey, John.
In color.
Love it.
Yeah.
And, oh, man, we know this guy. It wouldn't be the show. There would not be a show without this fella. He's the guy who's fun and a captain. He's Captain Fun. It's as simple as that.
I'm just glad to be back talking to normal people about Star Trek instead of being at San Diego. Holy shit. That was crazy. Hey, Dave Porter's #1 on the runway. I love that.
What if they said, let's go 2 weeks for San Diego? Let's turn it into a 2-week thing.
I would do it.
You're in.
I would do every Sunday, man, for 27 years. I see everybody with their asses dragging, and I'm like, are you people out of your mind? I will do another week right now. It's just so much goddamn fun. The problem I have, and the problem Walker had this year, was once you get up at that energy level where all you do, you go to sleep, you wake up, you hit the floor, you're just on the whole time for 9 hours straight, and then you get something to eat and go to bed for 5 days straight. So for people like us that, going to Healdsburg that's a big deal, right? Like me taking a walk on a beach today for 45 minutes, I felt like I was not doing something I needed to be doing, So like when you're at that energy level, it's crazy to come home and go,
I feel you. Like I got the kids and I took the kids and I preserved them in a hyperspace dimension.
Ooh, that's cool.
I'm going to tuck them away into a pocket dimension for now.
That's awesome.
Now it's party time. Let's do this thing, guys.
Hey, so Rick Goss says, can all year be Comic-Con? I couldn't do a year, but I swear to God, I could do a month. I could do a month. If I had weekends off, I could do Monday through Friday of Comic-Con for 4 weeks.
Either of you guys been to Burning Man?
No, because, it's the middle of nowhere and you have to pack your own water and sand gets in your vagina.
And it's all those jerks that you're used to seeing in San Francisco all year long anyway. So it's like,
what's interesting about where we live on the beach? There's like 3 Burning Man art cars in people's driveways out here. Like this is where Burning Man started.
Totally.
So if they still did it on my beach, I would be into it.
It's pretty hilarious that Burning Man started on Captain Fun's front lawn.
Driving to Nevada in the middle of nowhere and fighting the rich guys in their plane. No, thank you. That's ridiculous. One of my friends, though, did the newsletter for like 5 years straight. They do like a little thing that tells you what's going on. And so
newsletter.
He had a cool Burning Man experience because he has an air-conditioned RV with food for a month, right? And a nice place to sleep. He doesn't have to go outside if he doesn't want to, right? I'd do Burning Man like that. Like super glam camping and, run around naked and do some drugs, but then like are in watching the news, watching Brad Moss on MSNBC at like 7:00, making sure my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. book is in the corner. I'd do Burning Man like that.
My whole thing is to take a trip to San Francisco during Burning Man because all of those weirdos are out of there for a week.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't, honestly, though, drop in a bucket. The Burning Man weirdos leaving San Francisco, it's still 90% weirdos here.
Too many weirdos.
I mean, actually, a lot of those guys got driven out of the city, too. A lot of the, like, hardcore art dudes, right?
Yeah, they're trying to do what they can to save them, though. I mean, there's Hunter's Point now was an old Air Force base or Navy base, John, and so it's full of like asbestos and dead Navy people and shit. So
That's
they have
awesome.
to clean it up. So the only people that will live there are like artists that need, you know,
Asbestos.
space for their. They need asbestos for their brains. Mercury poisoning.
Yeah, I used to kayak around out there, and
Oh, that's cool.
It's beautiful and stuff, but it's like the water, it's seriously polluted and gross there.
Well, yeah, over in that part of the bay, there's not a lot of water circulation, so that's where you want to put all your chemicals. Just leave it in one space. You know, you don't have to go over there.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of chemicals, you guys, how did you like MASH in space?
Oh, dude, I love that one. And
How did you like the assassination of the character of Mbenga?
oh, I don't care. I don't. You know, I love that you hate it.
How did you like the dumbest Klingon episodes since Star Trek Discovery?
I have to admit right now, I completely fell asleep during like the opening credits.
It was
Oh, really?
boring.
Wow, that's cool.
I got 0 out of it because I've just been working a lot. So I'm not prepared for today's show. That's only one of the reasons I gotta bail. I gotta bail early today.
My big problem with that episode is that I somehow got it in my head that it was the musical episode next.
So did I.
So I was like, oh man, these guys are they're shooting themselves in the foot. They're gonna like, you know, show this dumb musical thing after like one of the most perfect Star Trek episodes ever. That Lower Decks crossover that instantly was up there with Darmok with me. I was like,
Great.
that's Star Trek from beginning to end. And I was like, what's the anti version of that? The musical. So when I got this like MASH episode, I was coming from it at a place where, oh my God, it's not the horror I thought it was going to be. So I honestly didn't go all the way into, oh, this sucks. Like it was like every episode of Deep Space Nine that I hated. I just kind of liked this one because it had, I actually liked the characters. So, okay, Dr. Mbenga, come on. He was in 2 episodes of the old show. Like, what character does that guy have? Go ahead, make him a fucking, you know, crazy
murderer
who's making it. Yeah, murderer. I don't care. I'm fine. And
I hate to see this.
But wait,
we have so many issues. With
the way they shot it, he's not a murderer. If you really care.
The way they shot it, he's a fucking piece of shit who'd be drummed out of Starfleet.
No,
I can't wait to see it.
It's completely self-defense.
Also, is Captain Pike the most ineffective captain in the history of Starfleet?
You can totally.
Like, he's not even in his own show, like, which is a whole other issue. Let's stay with Mbenga and why he now sucks.
Why does he?
He's had more time in his kitchen. He's had more time literally cooking on the show than giving orders on the bridge in this season. I would say,
and the orders he gives are usually bad.
I'm actually good with all this because you guys remember Next Gen didn't get good until season 3, right?
So
it's the same thing. We have instead of a writer's strike, which is what happened to Next Gen, that their season 2 was just nonsense. What's his name? Anson Mount just had a kid. His wife had a kid. And so he said, hey, can you dial it down a little? And they went, sure. Instead of going, no, you're contractually obligated to fucking show up and lead our show. They went, yeah, we'll work with you. We'll catch up with season 3.
They decided to phone it in before the writer's strike. That was good timing on their part.
And I'm no expert like Hollywood big shot Rick Austin, but
he's right. You can't do that.
But I actually thought that I maybe you can't do them back. Actually, you shouldn't do them back to back. But I would think there'd be a big crossover between the people that like that episode and like the idea of a musical episode. They seem in the same kind of vein.
The polar opposites.
Yeah, I kind of disagree because if you like, my into that was I love comedy and I even like the funny Star Trek episodes. So Star Trek episodes,
you hate musical theater.
I just fucking hate musicals.
That's
I hate putting musicals on TV. I hate fucking everything about it.
I like them. And if they can give me a pseudo science fiction-y Star Trek, like if tachyons are involved in making them all sing, I'm there.
I just don't have that entertainment thing. Like lots of theater guys, theaters, they're all song and dance men, you know, and that's fine.
Yeah.
that's somebody put their fucking, glee in my Star Trek. I just don't want it.
You could tell that's what
You
Anson
know what
Mount
would be?
is.
You know what would be great, you guys? Have you ever seen that show Buffy? Buffy did this really neat thing where everybody sang for the whole episode. Oh my god, it was great. That's what happened in the writers'
I hated
room,
that show, but
verbatim.
But I mean, you were into that show, right? You were one of those dudes. No,
I never watched it.
Well,
and you know why? Because
Yeah.
fucking everybody goes, "Hey, it's got clever dialogue. You're gonna love it." And I'm like, no. Like I like clever dialogue when it's Aaron Sorkin. Like I don't think anybody in that show is attractive. I love the movie. That's the thing.
The movie's great.
But I was good with the movie. That's all I need. I don't need to fucking see the Folgers guy be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Who cares?
I wanted to like it.
Show.
I ran screaming anytime I tried to watch even one episode. Especially the dialogue is just like I can't watch hours of that kind of stuff.
See, you guys made a fundamental mistake. You were not 16 watching Sarah Michelle Gellar every week. That was your problem. So
I just when I was 16, she just looks like an old banana to me.
Well, it was
like I know people think she's attractive, but I'm like
the late 90s. It was a weird time.
Now, I really
Britney Spears.
Did you guys hear about the whole thing where Anson Mount was like not available for certain amounts of shooting and they had to rejigger it? No.
Yeah, it's because his wife had a baby.
Well, Anson Mount needs to get his shit together.
Yeah, where's his priorities? Dude?
All right. Starfleet, maybe up here.
I know that if I was heading a Star Trek show, my wife would be on her own.
I mean,
name the kid whatever you want. I got to go to work.
They're doing their best. This show is doing its best to make the way they portray Pike is reflective of how they want to shit on Captain Kirk. He is the anti-Kirk, and they want to say even more. Kirk is a kind of a silly, buffoonish kind of like what a macho, male patriarchy enforcing effective leader that guy was. And they're going to have Anson Mount, who works in the kitchen and who like listens and who asks questions and has a whole different leadership style.
Very high emotional intelligence.
Yes, but not much in the leadership department.
I kind of don't mind any of that because all the captains are different, right? So they're making him different. It's just that and it's okay. You want to make him different from Kirk. That's great. But the thing is, they're making him different by not giving him a character that they gave to all the other captains and commanders, right? Like his character is just like, I don't know. What do you guys want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. That's, what the fuck?
I think he's modern boss. He's like the modern conception of good leadership is one who builds from consensus, not one who dictates to others. And I feel like that's what they're trying to make Pike.
I think that's fine if the guy had any other scenes in the episodes besides that one, right? Like he's not in episodes except to show up and go, hey, has everybody got a fresca? Okay, you like my fire? Okay, I'm out. And then they have the episode. It's like if he shows up later and goes, remember when I gave you that fresca? It was poison, and then joins the episode. That's one thing, right? Yeah. But he just doesn't do anything. And so, I don't know.
It's kind of funny that the only conception we had of Pike before that is like this scarred up dude in a box who beeps at you,
Well, now he's the same kind of guy, though, which is cool. It's just his beeps are like, what do you guys want to do?
I'm really glad that so far in this season, they have not leaned into his like tragic, like, my God, will I or won't I? But they did give sort of little nods to it, but they were more subtle to it in this season. So I thought that was
cool. I firmly believe that the last episode of this is him going, wow, it's 10 years and a day. I guess that didn't happen. We're in a different timeline. Jim, it's your ship. And then that's it. I think that's going to be the last episode.
I think it totally depends on how popular the show is. Like, if it's popular, it'll go on as long as it can, like 10 seasons or whatever. If they can, they will.
7.
If they can afford, can afford Anson Mount for the rest of the time, they won't.
That I doubt that goes 5 years just because of what's happening with streaming and everything. Totally. But the cool thing is, like, day 2, it's going to be Star Trek 5-year mission with Jim Kirk doing his shit on the Enterprise, and maybe the whole new crew. They'll show Scotty and
actually that's true. By that
Dr.
time
Boyce,
they can get there,
and we'll all be happy. Like finally, we had to sit through 5 years of Captain Pike not doing anything.
No.
Price will love it, and he'll buy the shirt just like
I'll hate it so much. I'll buy everything.
Did you see they're making new toys, man? J.J. Abrams' thing has finally come to pass, and some toy company named Hilo or something no one's ever heard of got the license to do the J.J. Abrams stuff. So
just in time.
There's little sculpts of
I saw that.
Spock in his volcano suit, and it looks like
somebody wants that. You want that?
Just very timely.
I want Legos, man. I want Star Trek Legos. I want them so much we make our own. So,
I mean, are we glad? Are we on the one hand glad? They're not fully acknowledging the multiverse timeline and going into a full multiverse Star Trek zone right now. Like I feel they want to. They really want to.
I think they are, but they're doing it the only way they can is just letting it accrete.
It's better.
It's better. Like that thing with the Romulan going, I've been waiting since 1992. I literally did this in my chair. Oh, thank God. Because they just now said it's a different timeline, but it's baked into the concept. Like, okay, great. Khan hasn't shown up. He's shown up 30 years after he's supposed to. Well, that makes all the bets off. That's fantastic. And that's why I think Pike's not dying. And I think that little round kid, the little kid that made them all cry from Cestus 3, I think that kid's going to be on the Enterprise bridge. He's going to be like Kelso or somebody. I just think that'll be so awesome. You're a constant visual reminder that time travel is bullshit. Let's go.
I had a really long argument with someone on Twitter about what that scene meant. And they were saying like, no, it proves that the timeline's still real. I'm like, no, literally on screen. They're like, oh, the timeline is now different.
I don't get how that guy says that.
Don't you understand about this? Like, how do you not understand how time works? This is
they sort of like, they even address that. They're like,
I like it.
Time is trying to right itself. So
right.
Khan just we did something, and then Ricardo Montalban didn't show up, and guess what? Jim Kirk is a lieutenant on the Farragut now, but wait, he's first officer before he gets oh, holy shit, it's a different thing. So every time something's different, I just go, yeah, that's cool. I guess I'll keep track of that now.
So Chris is reminding me of a joke from that episode that I've been meaning to ask you guys because I couldn't. I don't know if I got it or I missed it or what it was. So Boimler and Mariner, she's talking to him and she says, "Did you Spock? When you saw Spock, it was embarrassing." And she goes, "What? Did you ask to see his slot?
His sail? It's like a pet cat."
Salot or something. I couldn't understand what she was saying.
Salot, Sehlat. It's a reference to the cartoon, the first cartoon, if you believe it or not.
Okay.
DC Fontana wrote an episode called Yesterday is Tomorrow or something like that. And it's Spock and Kirk go to use the city on the edge of forever, and they come back and there's an Andorian that's the first officer of the Enterprise because they wiped out Spock by accident. And the big reveal is that he was supposed to go back and tell his 7-year-old self, don't play with a giant Bigfoot, your pet, out in the desert because you're going to get killed. And so Spock saved himself as a young boy. It's actually a really good episode.
Huh.
Yeah, it is.
That's the one. Gene Roddenberry, even at the time, he's like, yeah, no, that one would be part of.
That one counts.
That one counts. That's part of the canon because that's fucking great.
I thought it was like a obscure Vulcan anatomical reference. That's all I could come up with. Like, because I couldn't even Google it because I couldn't quite even tell what she was saying.
Yeah.
Hey, just as a fellow old guy, captions are your friends.
Yeah.
The second time I watched it, because we were in the hotel at San Diego. Walker and I watched it at like 10 o'clock, and then the lads came back, and we told Mark and Steve it was on, and Steve just wanted to like watch TV and veg. but Mark turned it on and watched it on his laptop by reading the captions. So I was like reading it over his shoulder. And so that's how I know that Selah, they spelled it correctly.
Nice.
S-E-L-A.
Yeah, one of the best parts of that episode, the Lower Decks episode, is Boymore and Mariner are they're the audience. They're like, oh shit, this isn't the timeline we know it is. Like something is weird here. Everything's weird. You know,
that's what Sagasag's talking about. They know Spock is different, but it's not. He's different he's the smiling Spock from the cage. They
so
just
sick of that
oh,
shit.
that's fine. They explained why it was. And like, dude,
all right.
Look me in the eye in the camera and tell me you went to college and didn't do dumb shit for a hot girl.
I didn't say anything like
so
that.
Spock's just like, fucking your Snapple's great, and she wants me to smile. I'm gonna hit that, and she wants me to smile. All right, look I got round ears even, baby.
But also, you go back in time and you meet your historical hero. Okay. They're not going to be what you expected.
Of course,
they're not be from it. So I mean, and also Spock's half human. So where does he get credit, man? Why does he not get credit for that?
That was one thing that drove me nuts with the whole Spock has emotions now. It's like, yeah, he's always had emotions. Anyway, all right, okay.
I get how they write that in broad strokes.
I don't.
Well, because not everybody's you and me. Walker just told me that this morning.
Everyone needs to fucking sack up, all right? Are you watching Star Trek or not? All right? Do you have the encyclopedia behind you or not? You know?
I agree. How serious are you taking this? Because look what we're wearing.
Yeah, right? Come on, dude.
I'd like not to be racist, but look what color this guy is.
I'll tell you the truth, though. I definitely buy what's his face as Spock. Like to me, he's Spock now. It's working for me.
Shitbag.
John saying, really? Because I think that guy sucked so hard.
I know. So, I mean, I think
he was. He was very bad.
Now he's my second favorite Spock. He's beat Zachary Quinto.
Well,
I think that guy's crushing it. He is crushing.
I can't.
This is the adventures of the USS Paramount with Captain McHare.
I'm good.
And all right. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. The Quinto.
It's Star Trek, man. Okay. Star Trek.
There's not enough time in movies to really give a characterization, like to make him any different than like Spock's greatest hits. He's logical, but he's whatever.
Right.
Now they're trying to give him some nuance. He had a little thing going with Nurse Chapel, which is kind of cool subtext when you think about them working together later on the Enterprise all that time. And they had this whole rich kind of fling going on. That's pretty cool.
John's about to nail his protestations to the
I just don't understand why anyone thinks we need. First of all, we have already had 50 years of Spock. Like, it's not like we need more nuance. Like, fucking let Leonard Nimoy. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No,
let's get back to how much Mbenga sucks.
No, just go into the Chris Sagasag philosophy, because this totally fucking turned me around, man.
Yeah, Chris nailed it.
The TOS is the show off the second pilot. This is the show off the first pilot. And the second you think that, it's like, well, of course it's different because they're doing it at a different time. There's different cast, and they're following a different thing. They're following the cage. And I kind of wish that this is the show that they did instead of Discovery.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Because then I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then by the time you say you do like exactly Discovery afterwards, but it's like season 5 of this show. All right, you introduce, you pull it like Green Arrow has the Flash and Supergirl, and then all of a sudden you're doing Crisis on Infinite Earths. All right, pull in Spock's sister, and then Giorgio, and then all of a sudden Section 31 is a thing, and then you got a thing, right? But the way they did it, they just backed into nonsense and then gave us what we wanted, and we're supposed to be happy. Then you end up with John going, I'm not happy anymore. And me going, thank God it's just not fucking sucking.
Yeah.
And poor Dan going, I guess I have to watch this now.
So
my two friends won't shut up.
Yeah, right.
Larry, Captain Fun's lens is colored by gratitude. I had this epiphany today. That Larry, especially being the eldest among us, had to suffer through how many terrible adaptations and awful sci-fi TV shows that were just like the dregs of the earth, but you still like had a little bit of love for him, and everybody made fun of you for it. And now here you are, they're giving you live action Nick Fury TV shows, and the internet hates it, but I know you love it.
Which, just the whole thing?
Secret
I do.
Invasion.
I love the whole thing.
Secret Invasion in general, or in specific.
Secret Invasion? Yeah, I fucking love that show. That show's fantastic. But but here's the thing. It's because the people who don't like it just want something different. They don't. It's taken me a long time, but people who complain on the internet are not complaining that they didn't like something. They're complaining that it's not the way they would have done it.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
True.
But like, I don't care what Olive Garden fry cooks are going to do with Shield or whatever, right? It's like, I actually got to tell the guy that did special effects for Shield. I was showing him my book, and he's like, "This is fantastic." It's out on MSNBC, and I go, I told him what it was. It's like, it's not really me reviewing the show, because the conceit is I assume you saw it anyway, like Star Trek, right? The reason you're picking this book up is because you know what this show is. So the whole thing is like stuff that happened to me while it was happening, how themes of the show apply to real world or stuff. It's a very interesting read. And he's like, "Really? You got that out of the show?" I'm like, "No, I kind of hated this show. That's not the show that I wanted." And he looked at me. I'm like, no, I liked it. I'm just one of those guys that I wanted live action Jim Steranko Shield. And he's like, "You don't know how much we hear that." I'm like, no, that's what's going on in Hollywood now. I know. I figured you do that because that's Star Trek. Everybody's like, "Well, that's not what I want out of Star Trek," because they're not giving you Star Trek. They're not giving you Shield. They're not giving you Veronica Mars. They're giving you what the new guys think of that show, which is cool. And there's obviously an audience for it. But all the old guys are like, when I smoked dope, we had to clean out all the stems and seeds. And, and now it's like, oh, I can walk into a dispensary and just get whatever I want. That's cool that Star Trek's got 16 shows and it's on Paramount streaming. But like, at some point, we're not really working for it. You know what I mean?
The worst part was when you had to listen to the guy's mixtape when you tried to buy weed, and you had to sit there and you had to have an argument, you had to have a conversation with the guy and pretend to like his music. Absolutely the worst part of the old days.
Yeah.
Well, I feel you. So it's like we've hit this saturation limit on all this pop culture stuff. I think I have to get out of here pretty soon, but before we go, we have to talk about the strike a little bit. I think on every episode, we have to touch on it.
Okay.
Because it's now hitting the tipping point that I'm reading for a lot, especially crews. A lot of people on the, below the line, people are having to pack up and leave. They can't make rent. They can't get their health insurance. It's really, that effect is starting to come in. And yet there are movies that get these independent waivers that are essentially able to cross the picket lines and continue developing their stuff. What do you think about that, gentlemen?
Well, you know why they got the waivers, though? I saw this for A24, the small studio, because they just went, no, we will give the actors and writers everything they want. We everything that they're getting, we agree with. They should have that. That's how we're going to run it. And so they won, right? So there's not really waivers. It's it's a capitulation.
They got like a micro contract for that.
Yeah, the studios are saying, "Oh, it's a waiver. You got special permission to do that," and it's really not. It's like that's what they wanted. It's not that you got permission. It's this one studio like acceded to their demands.
Got it.
And so I think that's great. If studios do that, then great. Let's have Paramount and Disney and everybody do that then, and stop fucking around, because those guys know that you don't have to say Bob Iger makes 400 million. You don't even have to get there. Just give the guys, don't ass rape everybody. That thing about the background players scanning your face and getting paid for one day's work and then that's it forever. That's insane. And you heard that they already have that backdoor in their contracts. It's just not legal. So the second somebody they use somebody's face and they sue them, they will lose. So that's their back end way of trying to get that in there. They're already doing it.
I mean, here's the thing:
That's
they will be able to synthetically generate realistic enough looking people in the background anyway. That if they're going to just use
I
generated
agree.
stuff, they don't need to
It doesn't have
capture
to be
Larry's
based on a
face and
person.
put it there.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, they're kind of doing that now. You guys have seen that Mila Sophia girl? She's just a generated model.
I heard about it
on Instagram, and people know it. They know that this is fucking Photoshop times a million, right? Oh, look, this beautiful girl is in Greece. Oh, and she says it. I'm an AI generated influencer, and people are like, "You're so beautiful," and I'm like, "Dude, it's not a person. Why are you talking to that like it's a person? It's just like a really involved Mona Lisa, right?"
because they're as real as any other influencer or celebrity they get to experience because they only experience through the same context points. So it doesn't matter. Who cares? You get the.
I mean,
picture.
I just went to a con where there's influencers everywhere, and I'm like, oh, there's some girl Brittany at the hero thing. That she's an influencer I've seen on my kid's video thing, and okay, there's pictures of her in Greece because she's a fashion photographer who just really likes NFTs and trading cards and stuff. But so I see why people go, oh, you're so beautiful, because there's a real person standing there.
Yeah, it's
very
weird.
pretty, right?
Weird.
But this is not a real person, and people still do the same thing.
Well,
you're so gorgeous. I want to marry you.
Have you heard about the NPC phenomenon? The NPC girl, Pinky doll. You know what I'm talking about?
No, what is this?
This is great.
Is it life size?
This is wonderful. So
it's
she's
from
on
Japan,
TikTok.
isn't it?
This is a trend. There's multiple people that do this. She goes on TikTok and you chat these little sticker emojis, little icons to her. And she has a little catchphrase.
Yes, I have seen this.
That she says so if you send the kiss emoji, she's like, oh, kissy, kissy.
Yeah,
kissy,
yeah.
Kissy. And she's just like, that's all she does. Dude. And they're going by the thousands.
Can I tell you?
Thousands of dollars a day.
Steve and Mark told me this, and each click is like a fraction of a penny. And she still gets like 10 grand, 30 grand a day.
It's these sticker things.
What's wrong with people?
It's these sticker things that they buy that are like a virtual currency almost that people buy. And so they buy like 100,000 stickers and they spend 50 cents, 100, whatever, $10.
Whatever, yeah.
And they're sent and they're giving them
out.
Like,
click, 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 click.
And they're just little micro half pennies, bing, 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 bing. And if you can, I want to see if I can pull this up before I get
So wait, you know how I know about this, right? Not just that Steve and Mark were telling me about it. It's because they had you've been to the show. They have like outside, they'll have trucks going by with these giant billboards, like electronic billboards. They just had her on, and they're just driving by 10 miles an hour, and she's going kissy, kissy. Oh,
we need to bring
back. What the fuck
back
is this? And Steve's like, dude, you don't even want to know. She's making 10 grand every 10 minutes. I'm like, what? Anyway,
so yeah, they call them NPC.
But at least that's a real person, though.
But they call them NPC streamers. So like, it's people wanting this synthetic, luxury, exotic.
We're so fucked.
I know.
Yeah, we really are.
Aren't there there's people are still have prostitutes, right? There are actually girls that will have actual sex with you for money.
So
we need to get back to
legal, but come on.
We need to get back to making fun of people for being weird. Because
Agreed.
all these weirdos have gone their whole life now just not being made fun of. It's like, no,
there she is.
We need to make fun of you.
A little pinky doll.
Like,
Let's see if I can get like a classic.
What the fuck is wrong with these people?
No, I think that's fantastic. If I looked like her, I'd be doing the same.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I don't blame her. She's just doing her.
Where do you get
I blame all the fucking weirdos.
But I mean, that's the same thing about like a hot girl at a bar, right?
Yeah.
All the fucking weirdos come and she gets all the.
You're never gonna believe that.
Oh my god.
Hi guys, it's your girl Pinky Doll. Yes. Have you heard? Elon Musk said I am so cool.
Yeah,
yes,
I don't know, man.
Look at this.
This is it, guys. This is our future, whether we like it or not.
It's our present. It's not the future. It's happening now.
I'd rather talk about how John thinks Mabenga's character is getting ass raped.
And we should. That's what I'm sorry. I needed to get into the strike, but I do need to get out of here and go chill with the family for a bit.
Yeah. Thank you for doing it. I mean, I
don't want
gotta
to ruin
go.
that episode because I'm way into Mabenga, and I'm hoping we get the origin of the jujitsu juice, the kung fu, the karate drugs.
You do. I hope
Dan,
they
I
don't
will
explain
say, Dan, a lot of people like this episode. So hopefully it'll be a good episode.
Good. Mabenga is my favorite character. I like that they've teased his backstory and throughout, so we know there's something there, and now we're gonna get it. Like I don't mind backstory things, but like just don't unload it in your opening monologue of meeting your character.
Hey, can I show Chris my thing real fast? Hey, Chris, Cotswold Collectibles. Thanks for turning me on to that. Hey, I made Captain John Christopher. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So thanks, man. You turned me on to the cool guy. I got some parts for my Star Trek guy.
Cool guy. All right.
Now I just need some Protocol 12.
I need some fucking
All right.
Scott.
Hey, Dan, thanks for checking in with your family. Uh-oh.
Baby, listen, I'm coming down. I was literally just saying goodbye, okay? I was literally just leaving the show, and I literally just said I want to be with my family. I need to be with my family, not talking about
He said it on the internet.
I said it.
True.
Okay, we're going.
She really is.
Later, guys. Okay.
All right. See you, Dan.
Later, guys. Thanks again.
Thanks,
Larry,
man.
you know what to do. You know how to do wrap
Yeah,
this up.
I actually have to go in about 4 minutes myself. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you're in Star Trek mode anyway. See you, boys.
All right.
See you next week.
Thanks, man. All right,
Ooh.
John. What's wrong with Dr. Mabenga?
He's a fucking murdering liar piece of shit who should be kicked out of Starfleet and sent to a fucking mental institution.
I totally feel that is going to have some ramifications later.
It
But
has to.
I also
mean,
think he wasn't a murderer. I think the way they shot it, it's all self-defense.
I want to say
There's
that
Chapel Sod, man.
I want to say real quick, on an objective level, this episode was one of the best episodes they've ever produced.
Okay.
Like, it was a fantastic episode.
Loved it.
As a Star Trek episode, it can suck my balls. Fucking horrific Star Trek episode. But yeah, it's cool. Let's just put people in stasis and then delete the program.
Well, I love that because that guy was dying anyway, right? They didn't have an organ regenerator, and that's why he's just like, dude, come on, what are we gonna do? We're gonna bring him back, and then he dies over there, right? Just give him some dignity, and let's save some other guys.
Don't wake up.
We can't save that guy, right? I totally get that.
I love the idea of Starfleet.
Dude sleeping in a tent
thought that was
naked,
cool.
right? He's not making the best decisions.
Wait, what?
Like,
Oh, yeah,
when you
yeah,
first
yeah.
see him, oh, that's Joseph over there.
That's Joseph.
He's like dripping in sweat and naked.
Yeah.
Like, all right, he's not making the best decision. I get it.
I saw a really good someone on Twitter had a really good take, and they said Lower Decks has been doing a great job, but each episode is an episode of a different series. They've done a TNG episode, they've done a TOS episode, a Lower Decks episode. This was their Deep Space Nine episode, which I completely agree.
That's a really good observation. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
So that's what's giving you some adjective, though, right? It's not picking a lane; it's just all over the place.
Oh yeah, no, it's completely inconsistent. Well, and I really don't like the fact that Pike and Number One have been basically sidelined in their own show. I think that's a huge mistake, but whatever.
It's such a weird choice for Star Trek, right? I mean, the captain's not around, and I sort of get that, but then like, how is Number One not front and center?
I don't understand what the fuck they're doing with her. I also think that Pike showed extremely bad judgment in this episode. The fact that he invited them to that dinner in the first place was just like mind-numbingly stupid. And he's like, I'm gonna give you a quick out here. You can leave when you want. It's like, dude's having like a PTSD breakdown. Like, maybe fucking calm your titties there, Pike. I'm
with you on that one. I thought that scene was going to go a completely different way, right? Because he's like, oh shit, I didn't realize the impact this was going to have on my officers. And then he just kind of sits there and goes, you may be excused from the table.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Very, very passive.
Yeah.
No balls on this Pike.
I did think it was cool that Ortegas was like, I'm gonna stand up. I'm fucking been ordered to sit here, but I'm not fucking eating with my enemies. It was like crazy Worf stuff. And then he was like, you kind of embarrassing the ship, Ortegas. Why don't you go fucking, go dig a ditch or something, work this out.
Yeah. Again, not a good Pike moment, not a good number one moment, not a good leadership moment in general.
You know what it is, of course, though, right? Everyone coming out of Star Trek was in the military or knew someone who was in the military.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is just a bunch of people who really like China Beach. And it's like, that's not how it works.
Well, and their conception of war in space is they watch Deep Space Nine.
Right.
So they're like, oh, let's just put a bunch of elements from Deep Space Nine together and put it in an episode, and we got a cool war episode. And that's literally what they did. I mean, that's
I kind of get that.
They smashed a bunch of Deep Space Nine episodes together.
I
get it too. I mean, these kids are, these writers are a bunch of bullshit. But
I love how you of all people like these fucking kids.
These fucking kids, man. I've seen some shit. You don't understand.
I get it from I know hack is kind of a loaded word. I kind of enjoy hack because, hack is a guy who understands what the tropes are and just uses them, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a hack cheat where you're like, all right, I think we need to do a war episode to air out Mabenga and Nurse Chapel a little. And I like how it was written and shot.
Yeah.
This was the first time that the volume or whatever they call that thing really worked, I thought, because you could tell they had their 40 feet of stuff with dirt and screens.
Yeah.
But they moved it around a couple of times and so it's like it looked like, okay, this is in different parts.
Yeah.
Like this is a bigger thing than just a 40-foot circle. And the other thing I loved was all their gear was smaller and tactical. They mentioned this on the Ready Room, and they're like, yeah, the little transporter thing has the sliders and stuff. It's obviously supposed to be a transporter, but it's like a suitcase. And I'm like, oh, give me that. Show me, follow those guys.
Yeah, no, I think in terms of production, I thought it was incredibly well produced. I just hate the message of it. That's all. Yeah, I mean the whole Raw thing was weird. I mean, he was shifty from the start, and he never really got, any less shifty as the episode goes on. Everyone just blindly trusted that he was who he says he was, which
that's kind of a Starfleet thing, right? It's like, let's take everyone at face value, and then Mabenga going, no, motherfuckers, I was the butcher of Jigal.
Yeah.
That was great. I think if you objectively just look at the storytelling and forget that it was a Star Trek episode.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Well, so I was entertained, and that's kind of how I feel about Strange New Worlds anyway. They're kind of wearing Star Trek uniforms.
Right. It's just a little bit off.
So, all right, that's cool. And this one was a good episode where they were doing, car chases and, it's. I get what they're doing. It just offends me less than Discovery. That's all. So
oh my God, yes.
So I'm just excited about a B- show for once.
If Discovery had done Klingon War episodes like this, they would have gotten a lot more positive reviews.
Well, we're all on record about what
Discovery.
Even Walker was reading some old stuff. I showed him some of your drunken stuff from season 1, and he was like, why does he do that all the time? And I'm like, well, he's married now, sir.
Yeah. My dog has killed 3
Why don't I do that
babies in the last 2 days, so I got other stuff going on.
Did you say bunny babies?
Yeah.
How's the chief scientist taking that?
Not well.
Yeah,
it's not going well. And of course, he only half kills them, so I have to be the butcher of Jigal. And actually,
you have to kill them too?
Because they're all bloody and shit. I can't. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that anymore.
You just got to train your dog to cut them in half, and leave one for you and one for the.
Well, the fucking bunnies are so stupid. How about you not live here? How about that? There's a gigantic fucking dog that's gonna fucking. He did this last year too. Fucking asshole. Anyway,
it's that time of year.
That's it.
Yeah, my cats are bringing in the baby field mice. But
Anyway,
they're dead. It's a lot easier to deal with. Uh-oh. I don't know if that's me or you. He's poor John. Anyway, he's frozen. I don't know if I'm frozen for him. I don't know. Be thankful it isn't skunk, says Hector. Well, John, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to unfreeze because... Oh, there he is.
I don't know why my internet just cut out, but it was very annoying.
I'm sorry.
All right. Anyway,
we're back. We're back.
Anyway, let's all hate the musical episode, and that's it.
I gotta take Walker to football practice, so we should probably split a little earlier. Sorry about the rabbits. That's gotta suck. Your back shelves are looking great.
Yeah, man. I spent a lot of time on that shit. We'll do a whole unboxing video. You know?
Yeah, do a walkthrough someday.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great time.
Hey,
live long and prosper, and don't kill anyone.
Oh, you know what? Dan wants me to play something on the way out. I'm not gonna. I'm with John. Fuck the musical. Let's go out there. Yeah, all right. Thanks, John. We'll see you later.